global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. Well, we're heading straight down to Imo State as we're still looking into the matter of the COVID-19 and the late AbbaKyari. It looks like AbbaKyari is full of so much. The death of AbbaKyari brought out a lot of secrets and exposed a lot of things that ordinarily a common man, the average Nigerian, knows nothing about. While we're still thinking that it's just basically for the north and probably one or two other persons, we never knew that AbbaKyari has very strong ties to one of the Biafran states. I'm talking about one of the southeastern states. As one of the governors of the southeastern state have come boldly to say that he's going to ensure that himself and the citizen of that state will immortalize AbbaKyari, which means by default AbbaKyari may just have been ruling one of the Biafran states in proxy. What do I mean? I mean that the governor of Imo State, none other than Senator Uzodinma, has made this public through his chief press secretary Nwachukwu, who actually opened up and said he's mourning the death of AbbaKyari, the chief of staff to the president, who actually passed on from COVID-19 complication. He went further to describe AbbaKyari as a very hardworking gentleman who was so passionate about his work. It shouldn't come as a surprise to quite a lot of persons like the IPOB members. They actually did from the very beginning. They saw the loopholes, they saw the scam daring, so to speak. But for a sitting governor to openly say that they will immortalize AbbaKyari, I think Imola should have a lot to worry about. If he says he's being the governor of the state to the late AbbaKyari, then that means, and even goes openly to say he's going to immortalize him, it clearly shows that there's more to this than meets the eyes. What other secrets are we going to still find out from the death of AbbaKyari? Time will tell, as Imo governor has decided to make it public, which means by default that all these things that the indigenous people of Biafra have been screaming and shouting, and that they do not want Hope Uzodinma on that side, they just may have a good reason to be scared. Because if the governor of Imo State has gone ahead publicly to say something as strong as this, immortalized, that's a strong word, immortalized, it's almost like a god to him, simply because he made you a governor, which means whatever comes out from the coffers, whatever comes out from the mouth of AbbaKyari becomes law in the hands of Hope Uzodinma, and which in turn will become a mandate and a law for the Imolites to follow, which means by default AbbaKyari was actually ruling Imo State. Yes, it might be one truth we fight to recognize, but honestly it actually makes a lot of sense. But now with AbbaKyari out of the way, who else is in agreement? What contract was signed? We're now looking at it practically. For him to openly say this, is there an agreement signed before he became the governor? Was there some sort of deliverables that the governor of Imo State, I'm talking about Hope Uzodinma, must have made promise or preview to deliver, since they have delivered him as the governor of Imo State? Is there some deliverables he ought to do before his tenure passes on? Now, what are those deliverables? How does it affect adversely Imolite as a whole? One or two things that quickly come to the mind of many is the fact that there might be some laws, or there might be some laws that may be enacted that may not favor the Imolite, but may actually favor people who are not indigenous. We're looking at the Roga thing, we're looking at the grazing thing, we're looking at the Fulani thing, just fairly recently, not recently, about 3-4 months thereabout, where an emir emerged from Imo State, and that emir actually bears an Igbo name, but actually is an emir, and there was a lot of uproar that period, and a lot of persons said it has begun. And now, just fairly recently, in fact, just 6, 7, 10 hours ago, Mbise people rose up to a very dangerous start. In a moment, you're going to see, we're going to upload the video. In a moment, you check our feed, you see the video where Imolites woke up to an uproar. I'm talking about Mbise in particular, Umugako and the rest, and came up and saw what was happening, where Fulani herdsmen have taken over 100 cows, came in to feast on their farmlands. The youth rose up, pursued them and all that. But you're going to see the video in uploads subsequently. And they have called on to Uzodinma, their governor, to please look into this before it will become a bloody situation. Now the question is, what is it for the Imolites? What is it they will stand to lose that would have made a fourth position in an INEC election to become the sitting governor? And he has openly said, look, I am forever indebted to this young man, this gentleman who is now late, and I will immortalize him in both myself and Imolite to immortalize him. I feel that he's speaking for himself. An average Imolite will never immortalize AbbaKyari, but then for him to have said that, that means he probably may have his reasons for saying that. A lot of Nigerians have taken turn to look into this matter on social media. We're going to take a cross section of what Nigerians are saying over the fact that Uzodinma is publicly saying that this guy is going to be immortalized. Now this one here is saying that means you were not voted by the Imo State people. Your days are numbered. I knew that they will come for him, because this statement clearly means that this state, you reinstated me as the governor of Imo State to deliver, to you what you want, the mandate the Fulanis want. Which means, by default, yes, an Igbo man is ruling Imo State, but it's actually Fulani man is ruling Imo State by proxy. What it means is that Uzodinma may likely be a figurehead. Yes, just be there. Say you want an Imolite to rule. This is your Imolite, but we are ruling him. He's ruling you. So whatever laws he must enact, he must pass through us. So he probably may not be listening to the pulse of the Imolite. He may not be listening to the heartbeats of the Imolite, but rather he's taking all that, from his taxpayer paymasters, which he will come in like press statements and all that. But unfortunately, my heart really goes out to Imolite. I don't know how they're going to do this, but this is one of the, according to the little history I've heard, that Imo State played a lot of role during the Biafran War. So Imo State is very significant, for this whole actualization thing. I don't know how they're going to go through this, but this is a strong statement. This one here is saying, now the truth has surfaced. Imolite didn't vote for Uzodinma. He was imposed on Ndimo. It's obvious that he who pays the piper will dictate the tone. Nothing agenda is the blueprint all the way. IPOB has been saying this from the very day they announced him as from the fourth position as the governor. They rejected him. In fact, some people were like wondering, why not give this man a chance? He has not done anything. Why you people reject? They rejected him for no reason. Okay, rejected him. He's a thief, he's a scammer. But eventually he's playing out. He even used his own mouth to say it. Now let's go out. So I said, Che, I hope Father Mbaka is hearing this. Che, he said hope is coming. Well, hope has come. I just hope that it's not going to be hopeless. Let's continue. He said, this one here is saying, you are not elected governor of the people, rather Fulani terrorist governor. Nigerian politicians have no shame. If there's any honor left in Hope Uzodinma, he wouldn't have made such comment. I tell you, why would he want to make such comment? And maybe it's just God trying to bring him out. Let's continue. He said, it's very obvious you have not immortalized your father. You have no honor. Uzodinma, don't rejoice in pride, because God that dealt with Pharaoh is very much alive. Till your term in office ends, Imolites will never regard you as their governor. The question is not just regarding now. The question now is, what are the hidden agenda he's meant to fulfill during his tenure? That's the question Imolites should ask. That's the question Imolites should crave to know. What are those things that he's meant to deliver? What are those deliverables that he's meant to give to his paymasters that superimposed him in Imo State, quote unquote, as the case may be, that is not favorable to them and favorable to his paymasters? That should get them worried. Okay, now it is now open. It's no longer hidden. But that's what actually he came for. Now the question is, what is the new thing? And let's continue. Nnamdi Kanu said that this coronavirus will expose many things, and indeed it is. It is exposing so much. Is mind-blowing. It's mind-boggling, really. He said now it has started with the death of AbbaKyari to Hope Uzodinma. He said that Kyari made him governor of Imo State through the court, that he will immortalize him in Imo State like Okorocha in his time. Imolite, please check him, his family members and associates. The coronavirus status now, he reveals the truth. But the truth is, I could still remember during the time when AbbaKyari was alive. I saw a picture, a video where I think he had a little brief talk with AbbaKyari when he was alive. That time he came back from Germany, Egypt trip. But then, like one or two persons have shown, if his immune system is strong, he may not actually have gotten the coronavirus. But that's where we're going to wrap it up, really. This, to me, is a red flag. Imolites should really look inwards. What is it that they don't know? The agenda is about to play out. A lot of conspiracy theory is passing on here and there, a whole lot. I do not want to go into conspiracy theory, but I want to say this, that Imolite, actually Imo State in particular, is actually in the heart of so many conspiracy, and Imolite needs to be vigilant, red alert, before the whole thing begins to fulfill itself. So all Imolites should be on guard to see what is going to play out. But that's where I'm going to round up. What do you think about the fact that Hope Uzodinma has finally said that he's going to immortalize the late AbbaKyari for making him the governor of Imo State, and as well as ensure Imolites do same? Let's go to a comment section. Let's interact. Don't also forget to subscribe, share, and like our videos.